Okay, guys, what we're going to be doing is kind of a follow up to what we left off with last time before spring break. We were talking about dichotomous keys and a way to classify things, and you had some homework that you did that had to do with classifying these leaves. I just kind of want to refresh your memory before I show you what we're going to do next here. To refresh memory, a dichotomous key is always a two-part question and answer system where you read the two parts to the question, decide how yours fits, and then you move on from there. So, for example, if we were going to be identifying this leaf right here, we would read the first question. So the first question is right there, and it says, is it a compound leaf? Does it have leaflets? Or is it one single leaf? And it's a single leaf, so I'd go to step 4. On step 4, the veins in the leaf, which are like how the nutrients and water gets distributed, do they come from one central location, or do they branch off from the middle stem? Well, there's one stem that runs through the middle with lots of branches on it. So I'm going to say it branches off the main vein, which is right here. So that says go to step 6. Step 6 says the edge of the leaf, is it smooth or is it jagged? Well, it looks pretty smooth to me, so that is a birch tree leaf. So that was just kind of refreshing your memory on how to use a dichotomous key, how to identify things in when you're trying to classify life. Now, being a big nerd that I am, there is an app that you could download to your phone called Leaf Snap, where you could take pictures of leaves like anywhere, like go out in your yard and take pictures of them, and it'll identify the tree. So if you wanted to know what the tree was in your front yard, you can go take a picture of the leaf and it'll tell you. All right, next. This is a lab that we would have done if we were at school. And I'm going to show you how to do it, and then we're going to do it in a kind of a shortened form. So you're not going to do all of it. You're just going to do a little small chunk of it just to get the gist of it instead of what we would have done in class. Okay, so what we have here is we have these fictitious little creatures, and they're like little aliens here. And we have to identify what they are based upon certain characteristics that they have. The first thing that you want to make note of is certain words that they use to describe these little aliens. So the head, they have these lumps on their head that they'll call a friend. So it's right here. And he's got one lump on his head. The two lumps on the side don't count. That's like his ears. So when they talk about how many lumps he has on his head, they'll talk about a friend head. He might have bristles on him. He might have hair on his head or not have hair on his head. His body might be stripy or spotted. His tail is called his caudus. So he might have one tail. He might have lots of little tails. This kind of depends on the alien. And then cilia are these little hairs that he might have. They also talk about a word that you might not be familiar with when they do the lab. Is they talk about symmetrical and asymmetrical. Symmetrical would be like if you took out a sword and you chopped me in half from my head all the way down to my toes, you could split my body into two halves. So my right side and left side would match. If you split me at the waist, the top of me and my torso is different than my legs. So I'm symmetrical if you cut me from head to toe, but I'm not symmetrical if you cut me at the waist. So they're going to talk about that. Is the little creature symmetrical or not symmetrical? Okay, so I think the hardest part about this is the terminology that they used. They try to they're trying to use like scientific names and how they have funny names like Homo sapiens is a weird name, or Tertiops truncatus is weird. A lot of that is based upon Latin. So these guys have funny, weird names to them. So let's take a look at a few of them. All right, so here are your little creepy little alien guys. And looks like I've got the worksheet flipped here. So this is number 1 here, then 2, 3, Roman numeral wise. So it got reversed on me. So you can see that if you look at their heads, remember the bumps are called the friend head. So you've got like this guy here, number 1, he's got multiple bumps on his head. Number 2 has got 1. Number 3's got 1 bump. You can see this guy's really lumpy. This guy right here, number 5, he has what they call split head. So he's got like a divot in his head. So his head's like a divot there. So they either have a friend on their head, if it's a lump. They might have 1 lump or multiple lumps, or they might have a split head. Some of them are spotty, like this guy here. Going to sneeze. Excuse me. Some of them have multiple appendages, which are called caudus or caudae. Some have hairy legs, like that guy has hairy legs. Some of them are stripy, like this dude is stripy. You can kind of just see different features to them. All right, I'm going to pause this for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work through 2 of these with you to show you how to use this dichotomous key and identify 2. And then on a worksheet that I'm going to attach, you have to pick any 2 of the remainder. So I'm going to do these 2 guys. I'm going to do Roman numeral 1 and 2. And then for your assignment, you're going to have to pick from any of these dudes, and you have to name just 2 of those guys. All right, you don't have to do all 6 of them. Just gotta pick 2 of the remaining 6 and identify them. All right, so what we want to do is we want to go down to the key that goes with this. So the key. Let me try to do a side by side here. Okay, so here's the key that they provide for you in this lab. And it's got 23 steps in it, but you might not necessarily have to use all those steps. You always start at step 1, and just it kind of tells you where to go. It's kind of like choose your own adventure. So if we take a little guy over here, if I can get my thing to draw. So we take little dude number 1, and we start reading the key about him. So the key is number 1. If he has a friend head, it says, go to step 2. If he has a split head, go to step 19. Well, he has, number 1, he has a lumpy head, so he doesn't have a split head. This dude has a split head. That one has a split head. That one has a split head. So number 1 has a lumpy head, so it says go to step 2. So right here, step 2. Come on, step 2. It's right there. Does he have 1 friend, which means 1 lump, or does he have more than 1 lump? He's got several lumps on his head, so he's pretty lumpy. Remember, these on the side, those are ears. They don't count as lumps. This is the only thing that's a lump right there in the middle. So this guy's got multiple lumps. So if he has more than 1 lump, go to step 5, it says. Okay, step 5. Does he have a body pattern or no body pattern? He's got stripes, so I would say he has a body pattern. So I'm going to go to step 6, it says. Step 6, is he lined or spotted? He's got, number 1, he's got lines. So he's lined, so I'm going to go to number 7. Number 7 says, does he has 1 single lump on his head or more than 1 lump? He has got more than 1 lump on his head, so I am going to go with that one. So now I need to go to number 8, and I read number 8. Is he symmetrical or asymmetrical? All right, symmetrical means if I take out a sword and I chop him straight from head to toe like this. You know, that's not very straight. Does his left half and his right half match? And it does. So if I would fold him in half, he would match. So he is symmetrical. So I'm going to pick this one. He's symmetrical. So his name, I said they're weird. His name is multifriend, which means he has multiple lumps. Lineus, which means he is lined. And he is symmetricus, which means he's symmetrical if you chop him in half. So that is his weird scientific name. So we have identified alien number 1. All right, let's move on and look at this dude, number 2. see how we can identify him. So little dude number 2 says he has a friend. I'm reading step 1. Has a friend head, or does he have a split head? He doesn't have a split head. That would be like this dude, divot head here. He's got a lumpy head. So I'm going to go lumpy head goes step 2. Step 2. All right, lumpy head. Does he have one lump or more than one lump? Remember, these 2 side pods don't count. Those are like his ears. So he does have just that one lump on his head. So he has one lump. That means go to step 3. Step 3. Does he have a single caudus? Remember, that means tail. Or does he have more than one tail? I see just one tail here. So single tail, go to step 4. Step 4. Does he have a single lump or multiple lumps? He only has that one. Remember, these 2 side pods don't count. That one lump on top of his head. So go to 5. Read 5. Does he have no body pattern, or does he have a body pattern? I see a pattern here. He's got spots. So he has a body pattern. So go to step 6. Step 6. Hey, I messed up. Come on, get off. Ah! What did I just do? Undo that. Okay, get off of there. I did it again. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, quit that. Okay, step 6. Does he have lines on his body or spots? Well, he's got spots. So I am going to say he's spotted. And then here's his name. He is called a Sylvestris spoticus. So that is the name of alien number 2. So this is how you work your way through these. What you're going to get confused on is you are going to forget the terminology. So I will, in the worksheet you have to do, I'll put the papers in there, like this paper, I'll put that in there, I'll put this in here, and I'll put the original, I covered them up. Where'd it go? Yeah, I covered it up, but the original directions, I'll put in there where it describes what the terminology means. Remember, you only have to pick 2 creatures from any of these guys. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I've got this thing flipped by accident. So I will put those. I'll put those out there. Yeah, when I took a. Did I do that right? Yeah, I did it right. Okay, I just put them in the wrong order. So anyway, when you go to the lab report that you have to do, I'll have all the information there, and you could always go back to this and take a look at it. If you get confused, go back through my 2 examples that I did, see how I did it, and to go from there. So I would go through and do it like I did and check off, like highlight where you're at so you don't get confused, because if you get off a row, then it's really going to mess you up. Okay. All right. Let's see how you do on that.